throughout, I kept on fighting with politicians who were trying to run over me. He was asked a question, do you think Kibaki won fairly? And he said, I don't know, because fairly means more than just an election
process.
Yes. Even in this commission, I explained in the book.
Yes.
I was called by the Minister for Justice, Honorable Mother Karua. She's a very powerful and influential member of the Kibaki cabinet.
Yes.
And she called me and told me to apply for this position because there was a, this was in 2009.
Yes.
And we had just come out of the 2007 post-election violence. There was this national accord which was signed. There was a power sharing. Kofi Annan led the process. And so now they were trying to establish, and ECK was disbanded. The commissioners and the chairman and all the staff were sacked one day.
23 commissioners and 650
staff, yeah. So there was a vacuum. And so they were now setting up a new electoral commission with a new mandate. And they had appointed Miller as a chairman. And then when his name went to his parliament for approval, there was a division in parliament, half-half. And so the deputy speaker, Haram Alim, said that they should re-advertise the job. And so when she called me, they were calling and encouraging other professionals from minorities to apply, like Indians, Maasai, Somalis, So that's why I was called. And also I learned also that Feroz Nauroje was also called to apply. So there were quite a number of us who were either applied or their name were forwarded. And so I applied, and the rest is history, as you say.
At the same time, when Mother Karua asked you to apply for that position, also the former CJ, Chief Justice, called you and gave you an opportunity to become a judge in the High Court.
Yeah. When I applied for interim job, I was shortlisted, and our names were published in the paper, and we were going to go for interview on Thursday. So I got the call on Wednesday. It was very close to the interview date. When I was called in the morning to go and see him. I went to see him and said, I want you to sign the register because you will go for swearing in as a judge of the High Court. And I consulted for my friends, Ibrahim, Ahmed Nasir, Wasame, and Isaac Landaula, and I think I decided not to accept that job.
Offer. Later on, did you find out who was the person behind that offer, who wanted to stop you from becoming the chairperson of the IIEC?
I don't know. I didn't know. I know I was vetted for judge of the High Court. Because how do you know that? Because you will be told, for example, that NSIS officers were in your village, or they are talking to your chief, or they talk to your headmaster, to get. So when you are being vetted for any position, at least it will come back to you. And so I had some snippet of information.
Yeah, people asking about
you. Yes, and I didn't know it was for which position. And during in 2009, the Judicial Service Commission never used to advertise for judge. It was always done by the JSC without any reference to the public. They will only send the names to the president for appointment. So that time it was he had the power to call me for that.
During your early days, you started consulting and seeking advices from people. Former ECK chairman, Kivutu. You also went to Major Mohammed Ali Hussein, General Ali. Even I think Yash Balkai. I don't know whether it was in this period. So why were you looking for these people?
If you read my book, you will realize that as a young person, a young professional, I was always very keen to seek the advice and the counsel of those who were before me, of those who had experienced in this environment where I was now coming in. And so General Ali was, for me, a very good advice, because he was working in the grand coalition government, and he understood the pressure that were coming from both sides, all sides. And I guess when I went to see him, the advice he gave me was very good, generally. And I think it guided me throughout my time in office.
For the benefit of our viewers and those who did not read the book, what was his advice? What did the general advise you to do?
You see, when I went to see him, people go to him for favors or for something about their relatives in the police force. But he was surprised when I told him, I'm only coming for advice from you. I wanted, what will you advise me to? I am now the chairman of this institution, and we have the grand coalition government. What will be your advice for me to do? Tell me, stick to your mandate. Don't give them don't use your discretion for anyone, because they will run over you. If you show them any weakness, you stick to your job and your mandate. Independent, very strong police commissioner. And for me, I think that advice served me. I took his advice very well, and you see in the book, throughout, I kept on fighting with politicians who were trying to run over me.
You also met with Samuel Kivuito. You met in a restaurant. He told you about how they are mistreated, and also you even witnessed how some of the waiters were treating him. Did this worry you about the new space that you have found yourself in?
Yes. Samuel Kivuito was very good to me. He used to give me advice. He used to send me letters. He used to call me whenever things were happening, despite the way he was treated by the political class. And he was very unhappy with them. But to me, he was, because I had known him before, and he was very kind and giving me advice. But watching him, and the way he had gone through the highs and lows of his office, just was an eye-opening to me, to be very careful how you handle yourself and how you discharge your duty as a chairman, in the sense that he told me, for example, after 202 election, he was carried shoulder high from KICC to his car. And then the same people were the ones who are stoning him in 2007. You see, so it is a change of pace from high and lows. I think because they thought in 2007 there was election was rigged for president, and that's why the public lashed against the ECK and their commissioners. And so my lesson from him was to be sure that you just stick to your independence.
In your book, you seem to be defending Samuel Kivuito, especially the remarks he made about the election when he was asked when he will announce the result. You said it is the media that picked some 3 words from the short interview that he gave. So is this from the bad feeling that you have for the media, or it is just standing with the truth?
No, it is standing with the truth. You see, unlike many people, I engage with Kivuito very closely. I explained in the book, for example, that we were in the plane together from Nairobi to London, 8-hour flight together. We've been talking all through. And even before that, I used to meet him outside and talk to him before. So, although he never succeeded to publish his own memoir, his own book, because then we'll have known what actually happened during his time. What I can only report is what he told me. And what he told me is that when the media said, he was asked a question, do you think Kibaki won fairly? And he said, I don't know, because fairly means more than just an election
process.
Yes, it talks about it's about a level playing field, where there was independent media, where civil society were allowed to do their work. A level playing field. He was trying to explain that before you could now answer the question. But you see, the media being the media they are, they asked the question and then the answer was cut. They did a very smart editing. I don't know is what was cut. And so the story was that he didn't know who won the election. And that particular information and headline was actually repeated across Africa and in the world. So I'll go for a conference, for example, and then I'll hear people tell me, you are former chairman, you don't know who won the election. So that particular incident, it really disturbed him, because he told me he had the whole 18 minutes interview. He had it himself, but he tried to come back to explain, but it was too late. It's already gone through the...
So he was building up to explain what entails winning fairly in an election. Fair enough. When you were the chairperson of the IEC, two successful things that happened, the by-elections, the fair, credible by-election, and then the delivering of the constitution of the 2010. How did you achieve that?
I think we had come out of a near civil war in 2007, and so the whole country was saying never again. Never, we shall not allow our country to reach that level. We have come back from the precipice, and so we had people who the government, coalition government, the international community, they were all supporting the country to move forward. And so we had, I think, a very, and the the interim commission was also given a very strict mandate in the constitution, and we only had 24 months. We were given 2 years to do this work. No one wanted anything else apart from do this work. And initially there was voter apathy. People were unhappy with what happened. We still had people in the internally displaced camps in Naivasha, Nakuru, Nairobi, everywhere. And so it was very hard to bring back elections and politics to these people who are already still reeling from the violence.
The effect of the post-violence election.
And so I think the fact that now as a country there was a national conversation to move forward helped us to ride on that national will. I will say,
And
of course we changed how to do elections. We employed returning officers. Unlike before, they were not teachers, they were not civil servants, but these were independent. We employed them from across the country. We had the most diverse electoral commission because we had every returning officer from every constituency. So the whole country was actually represented in the commission. It had the face of Kenya. And then we used to reshuffle them, not to work in their own home district or home county. And we also brought about use of technology in the elections. So this, I think, built confidence of the people in the electoral process, in the electoral commission. And the referendum was also very easy to do because at the time, unlike 2005, this time Kibaki and Raila were on the same side. The coalition government was supporting the constitution. Only William Ruto and the evangelical churches were against it. So it was very easy for the coalition government to win support of the people, to support the constitution. So I guess we had a lot of goodwill that time, and that's how we succeeded.
So after that, the term of the IEC ended, and it was time to move to the IEBC. Some of the politicians did not wanted you to transition to IEBC. Why is it so?
Well, I think if you get time, you'll see it in the book. I suspect it is because of some of the decisions I made as chairman. Okay, in terms of the employment of the returning officers from every constituency. And then when it came to the boundary delimitation process, again, I had, that will come later, sorry, that will come later. For now, it was 2011, and we had, the new commission was going to have 9 commissioners, a chairman and 8 commissioners. And generally they used to represent, the 8 commissioners used to come from the 8 provinces, the previous provinces. And I guess some thought that if we're going to have a commissioner from Wajir or Mandera, then we don't have to have a chair from Garissa also. It will clash, kind of. I don't know why they were not supporting me anyway, but I think I explained in the book.
And then some people raised questions about your qualification.
Yes, that was, I was working in a coalition government. So, you know, there was the ODM wing and the PNU wing. And I think in the book I explained that I had a lot of pushback from some of the ODM leadership, not the Prime Minister, but those who are under him. And I guess part of the reason why they were saying I don't need to be appointed chairman of the IBC was because for you to become chairman of IBC, you must be qualified to hold the office of a Supreme Court judge or the Chief Justice. And that is 15 years experience in legal practice, which I had. But then that question was asked to me by Bekadir in the book. I explained how it came about. Yeah.
You mentioned politicians from the ODM. All the time that you are in the IEC, the IEBC, the politicians that you seem to have issues with, but those from the ODM.
Not always. Not always, because even Makwere was a PNU minister in Matuga, and I had a problem with him, which I explained in the book how it came about. And but not all were ODM, just ODM, but okay, majority were. Yes.
Yeah. Even you described that ODM members are people that tried on violence, intimidating, something like that. You do not give that, I don't know if it is fair to say, harsh description, members from the PNU.
I didn't say that myself. I was actually quoting somebody.
Okay.
I was quoting someone who told me that. In the book you will see. I was quoting a politician who told me, this is how we do it. It was Alambare, actually.
Yeah.
And well, that was my experience then.